Hello everybody, I hope everyone's having a great day. Today I'll be presenting on the spinal cord. So, introduction to the spinal cord. The spinal cord is a long cylindrical structure that extends from the brainstem down through the vertebral column. It is a crucial part of the central nervous system and serves as the main pathway for transmitting information between the brain and the rest of the body. The spinal cord is about 45 centimeters long in men and 43 centimeters long in women, and it is protected by the vertebral column. So let's talk about the structure of the spinal cord. So the spinal cord is divided into 5 segments. We have the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and the coccygeal. Each segment corresponds to a specific region of the body and contains nerves that control different functions. When it comes to the protective layers, the spinal cord is surrounded by 3 protective layers called meninges. The dura mater, which is on the outer layer, the arachnoid mater, which is the middle layer, and the pia mater, which is the inner layer. Then we have our gray and white matter. The spinal cord consists of gray matter, which contains neuron cell bodies, and white matter, which contains myelinated nerve fibers. The gray matter is located in the center of the spinal cord and is shaped like a butterfly, while the white matter surrounds it. Here we have a diagram of the spinal cord. As I discussed in the last slide, the spinal cord is divided into 5 different segments. We have our cervical, we have our thoracic, we have our lumbar, sacral, and coccygeal layers. And then to our left, we can see that they have pulled out a vertebra. We can see in the diagram that we have our white matter, our gray matter, the body of the vertebra, our spinal cord, our spinal nerve, which is really important. So this is a really good picture that breaks down the 5 different segments and also points out the vertebra in our spinal cord. Let's discuss the functions of the spinal cord. So the spinal cord acts as a conduit for transmitting signals between the brain and the rest of the body. It carries sensory information from the body to the brain and motor commands from the brain to the muscles. So the spinal cord is responsible for reflex actions, which are automatic responses to certain stimuli. These reflexes help protect the body from harm and maintain homeostasis. Then the spinal cord processes sensory information from the body and relays it to the brain for interpretation. This also plays a role in controlling voluntary and involuntary movements. Now let's take a look at reflex arc. So a reflex arc is the neutral pathway that mediates a reflex action. It involves a direct connection between sensory and motor neurons bypassing the brain for a quicker response. This reflex arc consists of 5 main components. 1 being receptor, 2 being sensory neuron, 3 being interneuron, 4 motor neuron, and 5 effector. So our receptor detects the stimulus. Then our sensory neuron transmits the sensory information to the spinal cord. Then our interneuron processes the information and forms a response. Then our motor neuron carries a response signal to the effector. And then finally, our effector executes the response. In this diagram right here, we have our first step, which is a receptor, and it's going to detect our stimulus. Then we have our sensory neuron. This transmits the sensory information to the spinal cord, like I said. It's going down here. Then we have our interneuron right here, as we can see. This is going to process information and form a response. Then it's going to go to our motor neuron right here. That's going to carry the response to signal to the effector. And finally, we have our effector right there. And that's going to execute the response. Finally, here are just some questions I have come up with to ask you guys. I think these questions can help bring the whole topic together and help understand what a spinal cord and a reflex arc, what they are and what their functions are and all the fun stuff. Then on this slide I have my answers. Obviously everyone's answers are going to vary. There can be multiple different answers. These are just my answers. I hope it can help. Thank you to everyone who watched and listened to my presentation on the spinal cord. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was filled with good information and it was interesting. I hope everyone has a good day. Bye-bye.